the giant growled, cold dark eyes remaining steady on Conan's blue ones. "But that is not what I asked. What is your name?" "Conan," he answered, keeping his look of boredom. The man's unreadable expression also remained unchanged. Connor was his eldest brother and chief of the McTiernay clan and all its chieftains, 2 of whom were his brothers, 3 when including his brother who was to become the next Sheldon laird. There were 7 McTiernay brothers total, and though Conan was the second to youngest, he had a strong reputation of his own, or so he thought, for it did not look like either the giant or the redhead recognized his name. If they were ignorant, Conan was not interested in educating them on their mistake. He had not been in a good mood for days, and in just a few moments he was about to add another reason to his long list of things for which to blame Laurel McTiernay. Despite their quarrelsome relationship, Conan loved his sister-in-law and appreciated her loyalty to his brother Connor, but she was by far the most exasperating, annoying, and altogether frustrating person he had ever met. And he would not be in this humiliating situation, naked, wet, and weaponless, if it were not for her. Worse, if Laurel ever learned of it, she would laugh until she cried, sharing her mirth with anyone with working ears. Important details, however, would be lost. Laurel would not ruin her storytelling with pesky truths, such as that he had not been taken unawares, or that despite being temporarily weaponless against 2 men who did have swords, he was not in any real danger. Nor would she remember to relay that he had spied the 2 would-be thieves long before they approached. All Laurel would care about was that he had been caught unarmed in the nude by 2 men who had mistakenly been bold enough to wave a sword at his chest while demanding he answer their questions. Conan prayed he could scare them into silence because he was not in the mood to kill anyone. Death was messy, and he had just gotten clean. Last thing he wanted to do was deal with bloody bodies. "You would have to be one of them," the large man snarled as he stared Conan in the eye. Conan lifted his chin slightly in surprise and then nodded once. An odd sense of joy went through him at learning that his name was as recognizable as he had thought. "Unfortunately for you, it doesn't change anything," spat the redhead, recapturing Conan's attention. The man had bright red frizzy hair with a matching beard. The color matched the almost tangible anger rolling off him. The giant lifted his hand to hush his mouthy partner. "It might." Conan arched a brow at the comment. Perhaps he had been wrong to assume these 2 men were mere thieves. Both were more interested in him than they were in his horse or his sword, which was still sheathed to his saddle. And Conan had no idea why, but the redhead's hate seemed personal, as if he wished him dead, and that was before he'd had any idea who Conan was. His partner, however, had gone suddenly quiet. "Just take my clothes and leave," Conan prompted, testing his new theory. "We don't want your clothes, cack," the frail figure snarled. Unfazed by the insult, Conan sighed. "Not thieves," he thought unhappily. "Well, if you do not want them, I do. My toes are numb, and I would like to get out of the water." The thin arm that was holding a sword stiffened. "Don't move!" Conan renewed his bored look. The redhead jabbed his weapon in his direction in an obvious attempt at intimidation. Running out of patience, Conan threw his hands up in the air. "What do you want?" The thin man laughed in a pathetic attempt to show bravado. "We don't want anything. It's—" "Come to hang a bleach goonium," his companion shouted, cutting him off. The redhead closed his mouth and glowered. Whether it was from being told to shut up, being called an idiot, or just his hatred for Conan was unclear. What was clear was the giant did not care. "This would have been a hell of a lot easier if you had simply listened to me. Now he knows our faces, and neither of us have ones that are easy to forget." "We could kill him." The redhead's thin lips smiled at the idea. If not thieves, Conan thought, ensuring he kept his face impassive despite the threat, assassins. The giant scoffed. "Nay, we take him with us. He's a McTiernay. That means..."